It's so funny because I get teased all the time for not. Spring break, we couldn't get back to Katie stayed that way.
I was like, I ran in uniform.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell are you wearing? And I was like, oh, man.
New band.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Is he doing a presentation?
We're trying to get back.
Bill Brown was presenting.
My son's here from Slippery Rock. They have a 1 week spring break.
No, it's not a presentation.
I thought Mr. Hopkins was
Students an
presenting.
email
To talk
stating that
about
they're
it.
extending their spring break.
Do you
Because
do you want to
You like
ask
that
him?
911 show?
okay.
You watch 911, the show?
I know.
There's
Do you
two.
wanna do a
There's
presentation?
911
Do you wanna do it?
Austin, I think, or Texas, and then 911 up in California. It's a good, cool show.
Okay.
You're not here today?
Good. Ron Valley?
I know. I know.
I know you guys don't want to do it because there's no budget.
Let me go.
I sat down and I felt like I was being assaulted. I think we all have the same this time, so we don't have to like run around trading up.
But you know what happens though? When I was a military policeman, you only become friends with people who do the job.
Okay.
Because that's who you can share things with, and that's who you can press.
All right.
That's
We ready?
it. So you'll with those folks. That's who you can share.
Okay.
They'll understand you.
Good evening. The hour of 7 p.m. having arrived and passed. Apologies for our tardiness. I call to order this agenda-setting meeting for the Woodland Hills School Board for the month of March 2020. Ms. Hawthorne, will you call the roll?
Mr. Graves?
Present.
Ms. Seligson? Ms. Lawson?
Here.
Ms. Curry?
Here.
Ms. Strasbach?
Here.
Mr. Belmont?
Here.
Ms. Scott?
Here.
Ms. Hodge?
Here.
Ms. Glasser?
Present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. The Woodland Hills family has experienced a number of losses this week, and our condolences go out to John Boone on the passing of his father, to Andrea Kennedy on the passing of her husband, to Julie Puel on the passing of her brother and her father, and to Matthew Surechin on the passing of his mother. Thank you. At next week's meeting, we will consider the minutes from the February agenda and legislative meetings. Are there any additions, corrections, or notes for the minutes at this time? Okay. Seeing none. The board met in executive session immediately preceding this meeting to discuss legal, personnel, and school safety matters as permitted by law. Are there any announcements, Mr. Harris?
Yes, we have upcoming High School Musical, Jesus Christ Superstar, April 24th, 25th, 30th, May 1st, and 2nd at 8 p.m., and then a Saturday matinee at 1 p.m. Please go online, check out our website to purchase tickets. Also, Wednesday, March 18th at 6:30, the Harlem Wizards will be playing. Great game, so if you want to miss our board meeting, go to the Harlem Wizards game. Also online, we tried something new. There is a virtual tour of the Dixon Preparatory STEAM Academy. It's a three-dimensional tour that our Media Center folks set up. It gives you a better view of our new building that will be opening next school year. Also, on our website, we have a coronavirus update for this district and what steps we'll be doing in the next couple days in preparing if there is an outbreak in this area and in our building. So please stay tuned and check into our website daily for updates on what we're doing. Right now, this district does not have 100% ability to teach online. However, we do have systems in place for students and teachers to work together through the internet. Okay, so K through 5 has a system and 6 through 12 has a system. We are working on materials and procedures to help in case we have to close, that students do not fall behind. So keep tuned to that, keep checking into our website, and look out for our robocalls. Thank you.
Any other announcements? Okay, seeing none, we will have student speakers next week, which moves us to presentations. Mr. Wilson.
Good evening, everybody. I promise not to take much of your time, but as you may remember, in July of 2019, you passed a climate action resolution, and the Climate Action Committee, consisting of Woodland Hills School students, board members, staff, and then several community members, representatives from Green Building Alliance, Communitopia, and several other nonprofits have met regularly since you passed the resolution to figure out what that means for the district. And we thought that it might be a good day to update you on the work that we've done and the events that we have planned, as well as the work planned throughout the summer and moving into next year. And then most importantly, though, I want you to hear from our students who want to tell you about the work that they've been doing. Yeah. So just a couple of bullet points really quickly on the things happening through the Climate Action Committee. First, we were supposed to have an expert from the National Oceanic and Aeronautic Administration come visit on April 14th and present to first grade classes as well as all of the high school. The NOAA has put a temporary ban on all employee travel, so we are rescheduling Mr. Neopold to come in the early fall, hopefully when we have our Student Youth Advocacy Summit. But we are excited to have him on board. He's been on a couple of video conferences with us to help us to explore what it'll look like to incorporate climate action and climate advocacy throughout our curriculum K-12. We also, in late May, right now we're looking at May 21st possibly, we have the Alliance for Climate Education, which is a nonprofit based out of California. They are just getting their foundation in Pittsburgh and will be the first school district that they work with. They'll be coming to the high school to give a presentation to our scholars by grade level on climate action and what it means to be a climate advocate in a K-12 school system. So we're excited about that. The biggest date that I want you to put on your calendars now, even though it's 7 months out, is that October 25th of 2020, we're looking at holding a Youth Climate Advocacy Summit, where we'll host several districts from the region and bring students from multiple districts to come in and discuss what they're doing in their districts and in their communities to create advocacy and action around climate change and climate action. So we're excited about that. And then right now we're also looking at additional ways to impact climate action and advocacy throughout the district. We're meeting with transportation and food services to see what actually is being done on the ground in our buildings. We're partnering with Green Building Alliance around the renovations that are going on in the high school, as well as the grant that we're applying for Swissvale Library. So we're trying to ensure that we are making advocates out of scholars every day and every way. This summer, we'll do a deep dive into all of our curricular aspects after the Allegheny Intermediate Unit has completed their audit of our curriculum to see where there are smooth places to incorporate units and modules K to 12 around what true choice and voice means for our students and true advocacy means for them. And then beyond that, what we're trying to do is to listen to our families and to our students more than anything else, because they're the folks that this matters to the most. So with that, I'd like to introduce Tiara Bush and Delana Evans, who are going to speak to you a little bit about why they're on the Climate Action Committee and the work that we're doing.
So as you said prior, my name is Tiara Bush. I'm in 9th grade at Woodland High School, and I am a member of the Student Action Team. And I want to thank you for passing the call to climate action resolution, and you are committing the district to a policy that will protect me and my future generation. Your support empowers us and has provided us the most important opportunity. Our climate action team was invited to present a climate action summit last October. Me and 10 other students spoke at a summit about why climate action change matters to me and others, and what hopes we have for the future. And we also have been invited to present at Chatham's University's Seeds of Change conference in May 2020. They will provide us a chance to teach other groups of interested students to pass a climate action resolution. And then we have 15 students in our committee right now, and we'll be going on a still field trip later in April, assuming so. And yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Delana, would you like to say anything?
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Wilson and our guests? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you both for being here as well. Okay. And we also have Mr. Hopkins from the band and music department to talk about a request that is on the agenda tonight as well. So.
Good evening. I just wanted to present to you on your agenda tonight. You have to vote on the new band uniforms. I just wanted to show you in person what they look like, minus the green shoes. Sorry, we're in the middle of rehearsal. So in this design, we did get a couple of different bids from different companies, and I tried to honor the past and move forward with a more contemporary design. So the uniforms before the ones we have now are all black. So that's why we went with that. Our current ones have white tops, so I tried to incorporate that in with the turquoise, and then I wanted the W in to represent Woodland Hills. So a lot of thought has gone into the uniform itself. The company that we're suggesting to use is the one that we've used in the past, and the uniforms have been very durable. We had the last ones for about 10 years. That's the normal lifespan of a uniform. If you've seen them now, they're looking a little bit rough. So just wanted you to get eyes on it and see what we are proposing to move into.
What we'll be doing is we'll be asking you to authorize a letter to authorize the construction of the uniforms. They're in next year's budget. We won't get billed till after July 1st when they deliver them. But if we want to have the uniforms for start of school, we have to start now because they're going to
It's a process. Right now, I think they're
going to manufacture them over the summer.
Yeah, a couple months.
Did-
Just production of them.
Did you come up with the design yourself?
Yeah, so I worked with the different designers from the two companies, and the ideas were just ones that we kicked around. And then I met with parents on the booster organization, and I met with students, and kind of showed them and talked through ideas and tried to involve as many stakeholders as possible.
I think they look good.
Thank you.
I like it.
Thank you. I didn't want to move too far in the contemporary design, but I wanted it to look fresh and new for Woodland Hills, a new direction. So,
I have a question.
yes, sir.
I was in marching band in high school.
Mhm.
How's it feel to wear that uniform standing there by yourself? Right. It's better in a group, isn't it? We're not asking you to put the hat on. No.
This is Ryan Powers.
No.
by the way.
No, I don't need it off, Ryan. It's okay.
He's very outgoing, as you can tell.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have questions? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hopkins. Thank you, Mr. Powers.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes presentations. We will, as a preview, have the Swissvale Library report next week. I don't believe we have any registered speakers, Ms. Hawthorne?
That we don't.
Okay. That moves us to board matters. Mr. Harris.
Okay, Board Matters 2.1. First and final approval of revised policy 707, facilities usage, rental fee, schedule attachment.
Any questions?
The attachment isn't there yet, but it's what we discussed in committee, where we will be removing all costs for those who fall under the category Group 1.
So we have been charging custodial fees, and that will no longer be the case?
Yes, no custodial fees.
Okay. Any questions on that?
I'll comment. That's because the youth organizations that want to use our facilities, we realize that they're on a shoestring budget, and we're trying to work with those organizations to reduce their financial burden. That's it.
All right. 2.2.
2.2, third and final reading of revised policy 006, meetings.
This will be voted on next week. Any questions? Okay. Seeing none. 2.3.
2.3, we seek approval of the 2020-2021 AIU Program of Services budget. Questions?
Seeing none. 2.4.
2.4, we seek permission to accept the Swissvale Library State Report for the year of 2019.
Any questions? Okay. Seeing none. 2.5.
2.5, we seek approval of Deborah A. Roppenstrop of the Wilkinsburg School District as the school board trustee for the eastern region of the Allegheny Schools Health Insurance Consortium for a period of 2 years effective March 31st, 2020. Questions?
She is currently serving,
Okay.
so she's running again.
Okay. 2.6.
2.6, we seek authorization for the AIU-3 to enter into an agreement with HHSDR to perform architectural and engineering services for Sunrise School capital improvements as set forth in their proposal of January 10, 2020, in the amount of $8,900, and to authorize payment of our pro-rated share.
Any questions on that? I think we had some discussion about this a month or so, a couple of months ago. I'm also a member of the board at the Sunrise School, and there is a need to sort of investigate the roof primarily at that facility, as well as some other needs there. We will not be paying the full $9,000. Our share of that is, I think, we're one of 9, I think, organizations or districts that are part of that consortium. So it'll be, our share of that, not the full amount.
This will give us an idea of the cost.
Right.
Then so we can budget.
Right. We do
appropriately for next year.
we do have an obligation to the building out there. That's our responsibility as part of the consortium. So, and we have a legal agreement that is a jointure that binds us to that responsibility. So, we will need to have a little more information about what that looks like before decisions are made about how to proceed there. So, more discussion on that to follow the report, I'm sure. So, okay. Seeing no other questions or comments on that moves us to section 4, special education.
Okay, 4.1, approval to ratify the advertisement for the RFP for comprehensive coordinated early intervening services.
Questions? Seeing none. 4.2.
4.2, approval of the Student Conservation Association Wilkins Trail Project during the summer of 2020 through June 15, 2020 to August 14, 2020. Questions?
Any questions on that? Can we make sure the township is notified that work will go on? Okay.
4.3, approval for 5 PhD students from the University of Pittsburgh Urban Special Education Scholars, USES, program to each conduct a research study during the second semester of the 2019-2020 school year.
Questions? Okay. Section 5, people personnel.
5.1, we seek permission to enter into an agreement with the AIU-3 for the alternative education program.
Questions? Okay. Seeing none, Section 6, Personnel.
Okay, section 6.1, section B. Should I, do we need to pull this out? Should I read through it?
We will read through first, then we
Okay.
can.
All right.
Yeah.
6.1, Section B, authorization for retirement resignation. Section C, authorization to hire professional staff. Section D, authorization to hire non-professional staff. Section F, authorization for EDR mentor actions. Section G, authorization for miscellaneous.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, Mr. Belmont.
On C1, the hiring of a science teacher at our intermediate school.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Strasbach. Discussion of the particulars will require executive session. Any need for that before we vote? Okay. Seeing none. Ms. Hawthorne, will you call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Graves?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Lawson? Yes. Ms. Curry?
Yes.
Ms. Hodge?
Yes.
Ms. Strasbach?
Yes.
Mr. Belmont?
Yes.
Ms. Glasser?
Yes. Yes. Do you want to take that, or you want me to do
Sure.
that?
As many of you know, we had a personnel matter at the intermediate school this year where we were without a science teacher. We just hired a science teacher for that class full-time. That person will begin at the end of March. We're happy to have that person on board. They are a certified, qualified, highly recommended individual coming from a neighboring school. And we will be doing a meet and greet for families and students in the upcoming weeks to introduce this teacher, to the Woodland Hills family.
Anyone else have anything to say about that? Okay. Thank you for your diligence in getting that resolved fairly quickly, in light of the fact that we were able to post that position only after our February meeting. So appreciate the quick work on that.
Okay, 7.1.
Yes.
Approval of a data sharing agreement with Curriculum Associates. Questions?
Seeing none, 7.2.
7.2, we seek approval for a one-year renewal for our firewall gateway AV anti-spyware intrusion prevention app at a cost of $10,647.12 from the General Fund 10.
Questions? Okay. 7.3.
7.3, we seek approval to purchase 60 Chromebooks and 4 carts for the high school science department at a cost of $16,730.16. Questions?
I will note that this is a grant-funded purchase. Thank you to Mr. Muter for pursuing that funding and for making good use of it. Section 8, Safety and Security.
8.1, we seek permission to accept a quote of $9,924 from Westcom Wireless Company to purchase new radios for the security staff. Questions?
Seeing none.
There is one action item missing. It'll be 8.2, seeking permission to advertise for the security services RFP.
Okay.
I'd like to try to get that in so we can award it next month.
Okay. Section 10, Buildings and Grounds.
10.1, we seek approval of Shipley Brothers Plumbing, Inc., change order 005 totaling $2,654.13 from Capital Project Fund 39. Questions?
Okay. Seeing none. 10.2.
10.2, we seek approval of Civil and Environmental Consultant, CEC, for the testing and special inspections for the high school project from Capital Project Fund 39.
Questions? Mr. Gigliotti, what are the special inspections?
These are, if they pour concrete, they have to test it to make sure that when it hardens to the right, PSI, 3,500, 4,500 PSI. They're all on here. I have an attachment. What else will they be doing? Concrete molds, precasting, steel inspections. If there's any steel, they'll inspect the welds and everything like that. Asphalt, they'll be testing for compaction and making sure that, so all those kinds of things, the products they use, they test them, the construction things, so that
Okay.
they know they'll hold up and meet all the safety specs and durability specs that are designed in the bid package.
And there's no cost listed here, is that we pay them on a as-needed basis?
As needed by test, they're in the second, where are they? They're the last column of the first set of numbers. And those are the per test costs. And what Reynolds tried to do was project out how many tests would be needed and came up with a total cost at the bottom. But then they came back and told me they don't think that they're going to be anywhere near that number. But
So-
they're the ones that we used at Dixon.
Okay, so the estimated overall cost listed there is $155,000. Is this a not to exceed?
We can make it not to exceed. I
Okay.
could change it if that's what you desire.
Okay, I have 2 columns listed on the sheet that I'm looking at that
Good.
are CEC. The
There's
first
a
one-
little CEC, they're 2 different companies.
Okay.
From what I was told.
Okay. If we can get confirmation on that, and if it is possible to make that a not to exceed, I think that is wise.
Okay.
I don't even see the 150 total. Oh,
It's not at it's not at the bottom, it's like the 4th or 5th number up. It's the,
It's line 20 on the attachment.
yeah, line 20.
oh,
Here we go.
155
Yeah, estimated overall cost.
for civil. All right.
Okay. Looking at this, these numbers vary pretty widely. Okay. How was this selection made? Is this,
A lot of the companies listed don't do all the tests. They
Okay.
don't have all the certified people
okay,
in shop. CEC is a complete in shop. Mazer is also on the list, but their people that they would be using would be drawn from Philadelphia, which we
Okay.
needed to fly out here to do that test. So
okay.
I felt comfortable enough to recommend it because they did the work at Dixon. So we have a work history with them and everything's in-house. When they need something, they'll be here, scheduled, and it'll be easy for them to get here.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. That moves us to 10.3.
10.3, we seek approval of Pitt Electric Proposal P20002 for additional music equipment and panel covers in the amount of $4,043.52 from Capital Project Fund 39. Questions?
Seeing none. 10.4.
10.4, we seek approval to obtain a survey of the Swissville Library property from Mazer Consulting, PA, for $4,200 from Capital Project Fund 39. Any questions?
Seeing none. 10.5.
10.5, we seek approval for Mr. John's seasonal rental services for District Porta Johns for our fields. Any questions?
Okay. 10.6.
10.6, we seek approval to dispose of the old wrestling mats from the high school. Any questions?
10.7.
10.7, we seek approval of outside organizations to utilize district facilities. Questions?
Okay. Seeing none. That moves us to section 12, legal matters.
12.1, we seek to approve the release and settlement agreement, including a related trust agreement with a student concerning special education claims. Such agreements in substantially the same form as provided to the board. Question?
Questions on that would require executive session. As it's a student matter, is there any need to do that? We'll have the solicitor here next week who can comment as well. Okay, seeing none. Section 13, school finance.
Okay, 13.1, we seek ratification of the bill list for invoices paid after the February 19, 2020 legislative meeting. Any questions?
Okay, seeing none.
13.2, we seek approval of the March 2020 bill list. Any questions?
13.3.
Okay, 13.3, we seek the acceptance of the February 2020 fund reports and student activity reports for informational purposes. Any questions?
Okay.
Okay, 13.4, we seek approval of the investment reports for February 2020. Questions? Okay, 13.5, we seek approval of the budgetary transfers for March 2020. Any questions? Okay. 13.6, we seek ratification of the PASBA Bucks Basic Unemployment Compensation Insurance Program at a cost of $1,851.28 from General Fund 10. Any questions?
Okay. Section 14, superintendent.
14.1, we seek approval to send a letter to DeMullion Brothers and Company authorizing construction of new band uniforms through CoStar's contract number 037-006 at a cost of $51,855.
Questions? Okay, 14.2.
14.2, we seek approval to establish a student activity called Woodland Hills High School Students Against Violence. Any questions?
Okay.
Okay, 14.3, we seek permission to establish a student activity called Woodland Hills High School Life Skills Autistic Support Program. Any questions? Okay, 14.4, we seek permission to approve Resolution 545.20, furlough non-renewal of professional teaching staff and support positions for the 2020-2021 school year. Any questions?
At this point, Mr. Gigliotti, does the budget contemplate furloughs?
No.
Okay. So,
This is part of the standard operating every year, get it on the agenda just in case.
okay,
Because there's a time limit for notification.
okay. But at this stage, we don't intend to
Not at
furlough any
this stage,
professional
no.
staff?
No.
Okay,
Either at this,
okay. And no support staff either?
no support.
Right.
No.
Okay. Any other questions on the furlough resolution? Okay, seeing none. Is there any old business? Okay. Any new business? Okay, that'll move us to committee reports. As Ms. Seligson is not here, I'll take a review of the special education meeting, which was held on February 25th. The PhD students from the University of Pittsburgh, who will be in the buildings if we approve it next week, presented their projects. There are summaries of those projects, which I will send out by email to all of you to make sure that we have those for review, again, in advance of next week's meeting. We also discussed the possibility of creating a position for lead special education teachers at the elementaries and at the intermediate building in the hope of assisting with all of the requirements that go along with special education. For curriculum, we had representatives from the math department here to discuss the updates to a number of initiatives that we had discussed with them previously, including Eureka Math and Intro to Algebra at the high school. I'm forgetting, and Mr. Wilson has left. There were 5 things altogether that we discussed with the math department, and those continue to move either for this year or for coming years. We also discussed the class sizes and where we were with our goal class sizes for this year. And the answer is that we have some work to do to meet the goals for next year, although we continue to strive for the low class sizes. For the most part, we did pretty well, especially in 2nd to 6th grade. In terms of elementary positions, kindergarten and 1st grade, we were a little bit above our target of 18 is the high, so that's something we'll continue to focus on for next year. And then we had an update on special projects, including attendance and our truancy and rates, and Dixon transition planning, which continues to proceed apace and seems to be going quite well. We also had facilities, which I will cover. There was meetings held to discuss with Heritage whether they have any interest in looking at potentially using additional other of our facilities rather than the Fairless Building in a couple of years when their lease here is ended, including the Schaefer and Rankin that was set for last week. We had a discussion about potential uses for the intermediate school, the current intermediate school, after it is shuttered at the end of this school year, and we're looking for some numbers on that as we go forward. We continue to talk about the Dixon construction and what needs to be completed there. There was discussion about moving the theater supplies out of the auditorium in anticipation of the renovation of that space after the musical is completed in May. We talked about the needs for the Edgewood Playground to make it fully usable, and the issues of the Wolverina following a small landslide on the upper part of the hillside there. So, Mr. Belmont, do you want to cover athletics?
Meetings have begun with BSN Sports and Natali Sporting Goods about new football uniforms for the 2020 season. Woodland Hills was selected to host WPIL basketball playoff games for the first time in a number of years due to facility upgrades. This is a potential of a new revenue stream. Exit interviews have begun for winter sports coaches. They will be concluded by the first week of March, last week. WPL Spring AD meeting will be held Wednesday, February 26. We'll get a report on that. And the Churchill Borough is planning and coordinating a trip to Graham Field in Wilkinsburg with Musco Lighting and the athletic department to do a site visit for their lighting installation. We're contemplating lights for our soccer stadium. The company that's been talking to us about that, they've done an install at Graham Field, and if you drive by there, it looks fantastic with the new turf and everything. So everybody's going to get a hands-on feel for what that's about. And that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Graves, Finance?
I'll actually defer back to Mr. Belmont because
Okay.
I was sick for a committee
Oh, that's
that week.
correct.
So he can probably elaborate a little bit more than I can.
Apologies. Mr. Belmont?
No worries. In a nutshell, for the next school year, we're going to be looking at a budget deficit in anywhere from $3 to $4 million. So each year we get to this point in the budget season, and situation always appears dire, and that's for many, many reasons. The good news is, as Mr. Gigliotti mentioned earlier, we're not anticipating furloughs. That exercise we're going through previously is a matter of course. But nonetheless, that doesn't take us off the hook for making some difficult decisions because budgets are priorities. Where are we going to prioritize the money that we have? We don't have a spigot we can turn on and get more money for our budget. So in a nutshell, yeah, we're going to be facing a shortfall because we're going to be spending down our reserve this year. Going into next year, we're not going to have any. And at the end of that year, it's going to be hard. So I wish I had better news. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Does anyone else have reports to share at this time?
I do.
Yeah.
On the community relations front, Mr. Wilson gave us an overview of what's going on with our Climate Action Committee. It's really gratifying to see the folks that have come together once a month at the high school to see what we can do about the climate problems that we face. This was student-driven. Students came to us last year about late spring And in July, we passed a resolution, first district in the state to do that, to do some about climate action. Communitopia has been wonderful shepherding us through this process as we have several other stakeholders at the table, bringing each of their expertise that Eddie touched on during his presentation. So while all that's coalescing, we're trying to, move forward and bring other students from around the area into the fold. With Mr. Harris leading the way, the Consortium for Public Education is getting a regionalized meeting set up for us with other districts, and we're going to use that as a platform to get students involved from other districts to come to our high school in October for a summit to raise awareness to what we're doing. This is very important. I'll share a quick statistic. It blows my mind. I read this Monday. The Amazon rainforest in Brazil, as we sit here, at the rate of 4 football fields per minute, the Amazon forest is timbered. We lose that amount of trees per minute every day of every year. The reason I bring that up, you need trees to bring CO2 pollution out of the air. So as that canopy goes away and we're producing more CO2 emissions, it's a bad combination. So this is very serious. Our goal on the curriculum front is to have something in place for all of our students for the school year 21-22. So anybody that feels like they have something to offer in this endeavor, please let us know. Send an email, and we're happy to have you aboard. Secondly, we're working on an after-school tutoring project at the Braddock Library. That started last July, and again, another effort where you have several groups of people who care, want to help our kids who are struggling with reading and learning in the buildings. And those discussions are once a month and discussions in between, and we're hopeful to have something going for next school year. I know there's other stuff, but I'm forgetting. So if I think of it, I'll bring it up another time. That's it.
Okay. Anyone else have committee reports or other reports at this time? Okay. Seeing none, that moves us to public comment. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board at this time? Good evening. You have 2 minutes to speak. Please introduce yourself and give your name and address before you speak. And if you ask any questions, we'll answer those after the meeting has concluded.
My name is Lillian Divelbus, and I live in Edgewood. So 2 weeks ago on Wednesday, February 26th, during my 8th period reading class, everyone was talking about a bunch of drama that was going on between some girls in my grade. And someone had the idea to have a circle, and my teacher agreed. The circles are supposed to build trust and give us a safe place to discuss issues. I don't know about my classmates, but I don't feel safe or trusting after watching my teacher get slammed on the ground during a circle. She's been out for 2 weeks with a concussion. We've had no work, and we've been sitting around doing nothing. That's about 130 students sitting around for 7.5 hours each. Some of my friends don't have a science teacher either. I know that you're doing things about that, but right now they don't have teachers for 5 of their 7 classes. It is ridiculous that I'm missing a teacher because of a circle. Circles aren't even used in the real world. There's also the fact that my teacher is seriously injured. I've heard people say that it was her fault for trying to break up the fight, but she just got stuck in the middle and couldn't really get out. It's also not my teacher's fault that there was a fight in the classroom. I was at the academy last year, and there were only about 2 fights a year. Now there's about 2 fights a day. No one's doing anything about it, and that needs to change.
Thank you.
Matt Divelbus, also of Edgewood. You feel like a failure as a father when you have to bring your daughter to the school board to talk about a fight that took place between students in her reading class. It was a violent fight. I have the video. It's online. Students are joking about it and laughing about it and happy to share it with any of you. It's appalling. It's appalling as a father to bring your daughter here. It's appalling that's happening in our district. It's appalling that we have a teacher who's been injured. It's appalling that we have 130 kids, that we've lost over 1,800 instructional opportunities that we will never get back. You know, when we sat here and listened to the realignment plan last year, we were told that the intermediate school would lead to better opportunities and a better experience. That has not been our experience. The school is out of control. By any standard, I believe it is a failure. There is a lack of discipline and order, and there does not seem to be any plan at least communicated to the parents about how that's going to change. In fact, there is virtually no parent communication. We've heard nothing about from the school, about the fact that there was a fight in the classroom that actually injured a teacher. The fact is that not one of you, I believe, could spend a day or even a few hours at the intermediate school, and I know some of you have, and not see the problems that exist. As a parent, I'm interested in an actual plan for how we're going to change the culture of the intermediate school and the other schools. It's not just about new buildings. We can spend millions on new buildings, which I support. I believe we need top-notch facilities for our students. But that doesn't change the issues that are going on right now in our classrooms. And while I would prefer if you did, you don't need to fix this for my daughter or for my sons, including my 5-year-old who's excited to start school in the fall. You know, if we don't see the intermediate school start to turn around in the remaining few months, as parents, as a father, I'm not willing to come back here again. And we'll have no choice but to move to a new district or go to private school. And I'm fortunate to have the ability to do that, right? It's heartbreaking for me to say, because my 5-year-old is actually very excited to have Ms. Glasser, your sister, next year. Rather, you need to fix the problem at the intermediate school for the sake of the kids who don't have the opportunity to go elsewhere, who are relying on you for the future. You need to fix it for the teachers, an amazing group of professionals who just want to teach our kids. And you need to start now, because we just don't get this time back. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else address the board? Okay. Seeing none, that moves us to adjournment. Is there a motion? Sorry.
So moved.
Okay. Moved by Mr. Graves. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Strasbaugh. Sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Thank you all. See you next week.